Hey folks, there it is, American Honda's 2023 Rebel 1100T. This is an all-new motorcycle from American Honda. It is a submodel of Honda's Rebel 1100, which was introduced for the 2021 model year. Now, Honda Rebel motorcycles have a storied history in the United States. American Honda first imported its Rebel 250 into the States in 1985. 38 years later, and we have a 4-bike line inside Honda Rebel's lineup. Of course, we have the Honda Rebel 300, single-cylinder powered, which was introduced for the 2017 model year. We have the twin-cylinder Honda Rebel 500, also introduced for the 2017 year. Then we have the Honda Rebel 1100, which was introduced for the 2021 model year. And now we have this fourth bike, the 2023 Rebel 1100T. It's worth noting we've operated every Rebel motorcycle made in the current genre, so make sure to surf on over to the interwebs. We have detailed, comprehensive reviews on all of those motorcycles, and we have reviews on this 2021 vehicle from the official press introduction, a couple hours of commentary on YouTube, and a couple thousand-word articles on motorcyclistonline.com. So be sure to read and watch all of that content, especially if you're interested in purchasing one of these vehicles. That's who we craft our content to, is for US purchasers who really want to know more about these bikes before they buy them. Now, this model was introduced for the 2023 model year. It stands apart from the Rebel 1100 with the fitment of this Batwing style front fairing. So this fairing moves, it's attached to the handlebar, so it moves when you move the handlebar. Now, this Batwing style fairing was actually invented by the motor company, I think in the 1960s or early 70s. So it's a nod to them. It also includes this nice dark smoke fly screen and these lockable hard cases that swallow just over 9 gallons of cargo capacity on each side. There's the latch mechanism. These things are matched to the ignition key and lockable, so your stuff will stay safe while you're riding your motorcycle. These bags are not removable. It's a thing to note. They're not removable. There is also no passenger seat for this bike, but it does come as an official American Honda accessory. Back to this Rebel 1100T. Now, this vehicle is powered by Honda's 1083cc parallel twin, 66 cubic inches, single overhead cam, 8-valve cylinder head, water cooled. But the really neat thing about this bike is it comes equipped with Honda's legendary dual clutch transmission. Now, American Honda has been engineering this DCT transmission for over 13 years. It originally fitted it in its, I believe it was the VFR 1200 bike for the 2010 model year. We test rode that thing from the official press introduction, so I guarantee you there's a video review on there somewhere on the interwebs if you can find it. So Honda really changed the game with this DCT transmission. It's been manufactured for 13 years. I think this is probably the 8th or 9th edition of this transmission. Every year or two, American Honda makes some calculated tweaks to the engineering inside the transmission to make it more effective. Now, dual clutch transmission is very similar to the DCT transmission in your high-end automobile. It has a pair of clutches. One clutch controls gears 1, 3, and 5. The other clutch controls gears 2, 4, and 6. And basically that allows one clutch pack to always be loaded with power. So when you change the gears, acceleration's seamless, and it feels like you're just in one continuous gear, even though there really is 6 gears. It's really slick. It makes riding a lot more fun. It also does away with the gear shift lever, which would normally be like right there, or the clutch lever. Instead, you have some buttons where you can upshift and downshift with buttons right there, minus button and a plus button right there. Or you can just let the machine do it itself. There is electronics on this bike. You have engine brake control, traction control. There's also a sport riding mode, which does tighten up shifts a little bit, but not to the degree of sport mode on Honda's Goldwing. There's also no gravel mode. I wish there was a gravel mode in the DCT setup like there is in Honda's Africa Twin, which would even reduce clutch lockup even faster and give it a lot more torquey feel. Now, this engine's the same power plant used in Honda's Africa Twin, but it has a couple modifications, namely a bigger flywheel and different camshaft profile, which gives the engine more low-end torque, but it feels a little bit slower to rev and has a little bit less bark than the Africa Twin. The last time we dyno tested this power configuration in a Rebel, it made right around 80 horsepower at the business end of that 16-inch Dunlop rear tire. Up front, we have an 18-inch wheel, so spoked aluminum wheels, 18-16, that's the combo. We have one hydraulic disc brake up front with a nice monoblock caliper. I love monoblock calipers. I wish this thing had dual disc brakes. Not so much for the extra stopping power, but just aesthetically pleasing. It doesn't look quite right with that one brake rotor right there. I wish it had two. We have a big back brake out back. Nearly 5 inches of suspension travel up front and almost 4 in the back, so a lot of suspension travel. What do you folks think of Honda's 1100 DCT? I've talked to a lot of friends of mine, both in the power sports industry and outside of, and a few people like the lines, a few people don't. I really like the way this bike looks. I mean, to me, it looks like the Motor Company's 2023 version of the Motor Company's Sportster. I really like the lines on this bike. I like the headlight. You know, when I pull up to the spot at night, people think I'm on a Motor Company bike, and I think that's really neat. Well, folks, that's a quick rundown of Honda's 1100T. We are going to ride this bike somewhere special for our official review, so stay tuned. And of course, if you want to know more about Honda's Rebel lineup, please surf on over to motorcyclistonline.com. We have a couple reviews on its sister model, the Rebel 1100. We also have probably an hour, maybe a little bit more, maybe a little bit less, video commentary on the Rebel 1100 from the official press introduction. So please check us out on Motorcyclist Mag on YouTube and watch that content if you're interested in purchasing one of these vehicles. Price on this thing, $11,300, and it only comes in DCT. So if you want to shift manually, you're out of luck because this is a DCT bike only. We love DCT. It removes the need to shift gears. Instead, all you have to do is worry about what's in front of you and operating the bike. It basically makes riding this thing like riding a big scooter, which a lot of people out there, probably haters, are going to be like, oh, I don't want to ride a scooter. That sounds lame. But for us, it just makes riding more fun and riding easier, and we're big fans of that. All right, folks, that wraps up our official preview of this vehicle. Stay tuned for a review, and as always, thanks for riding with us.